Every painting he's ever done, it's got a story. All of them. Okay. Books, and he lives to paint. From the time, he says, from the time he was 4 years old until, he's 95 now. He'll be 96 in November. Anyway, back to the painting. Back to the art. Dad did in the 50s. I'm quite sure, because most of his stuff is in the 50s. So it's an 18 by 20 Jack Feldman by Jack Feldman. It doesn't have his logo because this is back in the 50s before he actually did that. But you can see, right? Sky, ocean, cliff, boat, the land, the jetty, big rock here, the ebb and flow of the water here. Big paint. Right? 18 by 20 Jack Feldman. Really nice painting. This one is called Blue Nocturne. And this one was, it was given to Uncle Joe back in 1954-ish. Well, it was painted in 54. And then Dad gave it to Uncle Joe when he lived in San Francisco. So here on the back, this is his provenance again. The original writing was Blue Nocturne, Jack Feldman, 1954. That was it. And he put in the rest of his provenance information. San Joaquin Street, Stockton, California. See these other painting numbers. Series number 14 is the seascape. This is a 24 by 30. So on the stretcher board, 1954. His logo, 24 by 30. His card. Stretcher boards all have the information. So the Seascape series is series number 14. Didn't know that. Now I do. To be remembered is immortality. And he didn't get the rest of his stuff. But here it shows. First owner is my Uncle Joe, 1954. And second owner is me, Jeff Feldman, Santa Rosa, 2002. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. The sonnet that he puts on all his paintings. So this is one of my paintings now. I love it. Beautiful ocean, waves, cliffs again, big rocks, the ebb and flow, the ocean, the moon coming out here, and you can barely see the moon, just the brightness, and then the cascading moonlight on the ocean there. 1954 Jack Feldman. And he doesn't have his logo on the front, but he put his logo on the back, right, which is supposed to be bird wings. It used to be, when he first did it, back in the 80s, he was doing space, so it looked like Saturn, kind of a straight line thing. And then after that, he was doing the birds, like out of Bodega Bay, he did a whole bunch of birds. And so because he was doing wildlife, and he enjoyed that, he made his logo, JF, with bird wings coming out of it. Very cool. Let's get some pictures of this. What I want to try to do before anything else is get this guy done. Jack Feldman. This is back in the 50s. This was 1936, December 3rd. Wait a minute, I can't read it. December 22nd, 36. It doesn't make sense. It says DE.3-2236. 1940s, he's in high school. He wasn't this good at that time. Yes, That's what I should do, is lay it down and then do an overhead shot. This thing was rolled up, and so there's a lot of creases and cracking, and and there's no frame, no stretcher boards. So I gotta make sure that it stays okay. What I did was I have a big piece of plastic, clear plastic, that I was able to put this against a table, kind of like that, and then the clear plastic on top of it just to hold it flat and protect it. So Jack Feldman, 150 Sweeney Street, San Francisco, California. Oh, that's the zip code. That's the old style zip code. That's what that is. Interesting. Dad's whole thing was Jack Feldman, Museum of Fine Art. He always called this place a museum because he wanted to hang the art, he wanted to show it to people, but he never wanted to sell it to people here. So, but yeah, he had this hanging on his front door saying that it's Jack Feldman's Museum of Fine Art, and then his logo there. So these gold frames are the nice ones that he really enjoys. He likes these big, bold gold frames. This is an 8x10 that he did for me at home, and this was my housewarming gift from him. So 326.83. In 93, 10 years later, he repainted it because I gave it back to him, and he repainted it again and gave it back to me again, or cleaned it and varnished it and all that stuff. Jack Feldman, his signature, and then it says, "To my son Jeff, as his first housewarming gift, love, Dad." So this is a memo series, number 28, and this is the flowers, flower pot. His logo's down here in red, and yeah, so this is a favorite. Along the stretcher boards, "Your immortality and art is guaranteed." J, number 28, 8x10, archival reference. "This artist's quality canvas is protected." Oh, that's the canvas from the manufacturer. And then J. Feldman, Master American Portrait Artist, Private Art Gallery, Montclair Drive, Santa Rosa. So when he was on Montclair Drive in Santa Rosa, he also had his gallery, and he would invite people in his museum, right? But at that time he called it his gallery. And then call that number for an appointment. So then down here to Jeff, "With love, Dad, 1983. So I love it. This is one that I grew up with. All right, the tricycle. Jack Feldman, this was hanging always in the house. So this painting takes me back in time. So there's a cricket not a cricket, grasshopper down here. The dandelion. And then some longer up here, and then the red tricycle. And this is from 1966. So I was here. This is an oil painting. Very damp. It's a 20x40 canvas size by Jack Feldman, 65, in the garden. It's a memo series, so memorial series. Number 8, here's his logo. So initially, he didn't have, he might have had Jack Feldman on there, and that was it. But he's had this painting ever since. So at some point in time, he went back, probably when he was on Montclair, because right here is the sticker from Montclair Drive in Santa Rosa, when he was had his private art gallery in his house. And then he started doing the logo and also the provenance, all the information on the back of the board. So this is 20x40, 40, 20, logo here. Yeah. His logo, "Your immortality and art is guaranteed." So this one is a favorite. We hung that in the house. We're hanging it in the house now. see this first 9 El Camino Drive, Corte Madera. That's where I was born. That was the house where I grew up.
Oh, I like this one.
This was apple orchard. So this is the Orchard Series number 9, painted in 1983. February 13th, 83, which was a Sunday. So one of the things Dad and Shirley would do is they would get in the car and just drive. And they would stop wherever inspired them. And this orchard has, and there's always something in his paintings, always. So here's the rancher, and he's got a pole saw, and he's up here doing something, and it reaches all the way up here. Okay, so he's doing some type of work. We have these fire flowers down here. They're beautiful all the way through this area, and then the yellow flowers over here. Then we have the orchard, the apple trees going all the way back. And the hills are in the back here, and you can see the turkey vultures flying in the sky there. When it's a V around here, you see the birds flying. The V shows vulture. If it has kind of a straight or an M kind of wing, it's a hawk or another bird. So in our neighborhood, which is this same neighborhood, this is down Petaluma on Lakeville Road, Highway 116, Lakeville Road, title Petaluma, Orchard Series number 9. Dad was living on Montclair and Santa Rosa at the time, so he did it on Sunday. This is on the driveway to the farmhouse on the property. The orchard has been totally removed, and the property is now a horse ranch as of 1994. So 10 years later, in 1983, it was an orchard, and in 94, it's a horse ranch now on that area. So that was the driveway going to the house, which was back here somewhere. I don't see a house, but the orchard was there, and that's the story of this neighborhood. Is that in the 1800s, Sonoma County, and this is Gravenstein apple, just like right here. If I turn the camera around, this is our little Gravenstein apple orchard too, and we have about 100 trees, Gravenstein trees. And they kind of look like this, right? They have multi things. Anyway, so in the 1800s, the area was full of thousands and thousands of apple orchard acres, and the business was booming, and they would package it and they'd send it on the train down to San Francisco, and then it would go off. So the Gravenstein apple is a soft kind of apple, so it doesn't travel well compared to other apples. And now they've created, see, this is in the 1800s where they weren't doing genetics and all that stuff. So now they've developed apples that are hardy and worthy and everything else, and the Grabs aren't. You know, they're a soft apple, they're a local apple. Here and I think Nova Scotia are the two kind of areas. Supposedly these apples came over with the traders, the otter, right? They would hunt otters from Russia in the 1800s, early on, before the United States took this state as a state. You know, Mexico had it, and the Russians came down. Fort Ross is about an hour on the coast, and that was their major area, their fort. And they would go back and forth with their pelts because they trapped all the sea otters and other things too. Anyway, so now we only have 900 acres. As of the book that I read 20 years ago, there's only like 900 acres of apples left. So here in Sebastopol, we still have quite a few orchards, but the majority of it has been ripped out, and it is grapes now. I love these orchard paintings, and because Dad was here in the neighborhood, and this is the neighborhood, he would do it. I'm going to take pictures of these, and I'm going to keep the original unless somebody wants to purchase it, but I'm going to make prints. And the biggest print that I can make is a 13 by 19, which is basically half of this. So it would still be a large print in a frame, but it would be about half this size, and it would be the full painting in a landscape pattern. But I'm able to make a 13 by 19, I'm able to make an 11 by 17, and then of course all the smaller sizes at various prices. So you get to choose if you like it, and then you get to choose what size you want, and I'd be happy to put it together and send it to you. And I get Dad to sign it while he's still around. That would be ideal. Yeah, his signature's down here, 1983, his logo's there, and then he did another bigger logo here. That bird is normal. Okay. This guy, a little bit dusty. I have to do we can clean it with mild soap and water. Mild soap and water. Mineral spirits would be the solvent. We don't want to do that, but it is varnished to protect it for ultraviolet and keep its gloss. So, yeah, it's a little dusty, so I do need to clean it off. But beautiful painting. So this is one of Dad's bird series. This is back in the 1960s. He put his new logo down here in the bottom, but this is from 1960s. It's on panel, and it's a 24 by 30 by Jack Feldman. You can see, right, with his logo, Corte Madera, California. So Corte Madera, we were only there in the 60s and 70s. So this is 60s and 70s vintage time frame. I'm thinking might be 70s because I don't know. I'll have to ask him. But anyway, we have the pelican. We have a lot of pelicans on the coast here, and they come through and then they dive bomb. So, and we have the brown pelican is what we have. This guy's white, and he's looking at you. You can just look at his eye, and he's watching you back, wondering what you're doing. Yeah. These are nice. I'm gonna have to check in with Dad and see what story he has, because every painting he's ever done, it's got a story. All of them. Okay, let me get my pictures. This one, let's see what it says. This is Rohnert Park. Rohnert Park. He's on Montclair here. Oh, he's on Camino Colegio in Rohnert Park when he did this. So they moved from Santa Rosa to Rohnert Park, and there was a small townhouse, condominium kind of thing on Camino Colegio in Rohnert Park. Anyway, after the rain, valley view, the sun is breaking through from Warrington Road off of Petaluma Hill Road. So Petaluma Hill Road is a big road that goes from Petaluma up to Santa Rosa, one of the back roads. So there's Highway 101, and then the back road that goes through that area goes from Petaluma through Cotati, Rohnert Park, up to Santa Rosa. And after the rain, the sun is peeking through. And you can just see the fields, the farm fields, and the barn, another barn, and the road going out that way. And it's always sectioned off, bent on, kind of like us. We have a 2-acre stretch going back that way. He's got a 2-acre stretch that way. They have 9 acres over there. Those guys have 6 acres. So each one is a different property or different growing product, right? And the hills that go across county. This is Sonoma. His signature down here in 1982, and then his logo. Yeah. So this one's an oil painting. All the other ones, most of them are acrylic. This one is an oil, and it's right near Stinson Beach in Marin County, California. So this is a place where we would go often growing up, my sister. But anyway, so it's Stinson Beach. These are the California rocks, and you can see the swirling ocean as it comes in, right? The ocean's out there, and the waves come crashing in, and they get in here into all these rocks coming over the top here and back in here. And this is where, as the tide goes out, this would be where you go checking, looking for sea stars and sea anemones and things like that. So this is 24 by 30 oil painting by Dad, Corte Madera, south of Stinson Beach in Marin County, and it was a gray day. That's what he calls it. And he doesn't have a date on it, but it's 1950s because 1950s was this style. This one is on heavy panel. This is a 24 by 30 oil. No Wind is what it's called, by Jack Feldman, 1957. 1957. Then Dad came back and he put on his logo. Whoops. His logo there. This one's heavy because it's a panel. And Dad lived on Bryant Street, so he did this 1957 on Bryant Street. So that means they weren't in Corte Madera yet, like I was saying. So yeah, No Wind is what it's called. And so there's two boys, two children sitting in front of this structure. And down here by my thumb is a kite, and it's just kind of sitting there. And then there's a ball over that way to the right, and they're just waiting because there's no wind. And it tells a story. It'd be interesting to know where this structure is, because Dad would know that, and he would say, oh yeah, I saw that structure at such and such a place. And so I decided to paint these two young people here on a day without wind. So I guess Mom's family knew somebody who lived in the building, and this is a bunch of flats, right? San Francisco has one building with 3 floors, and each floor is a long flat that goes from the front of the building all the way to the back, and each one is rented by a family. So they had a flat by themselves on Bryant Street. I'm not sure if downstairs on the corner, I don't think so, but Dad was giving art lessons out of the house. And, he'd have people come and give him art lessons in the house, and Mom was like, okay, well, I don't want a bunch of people in the house, which I understand completely. And so he got a studio somewhere else. But Flax Brothers were an art supply store. So the father started it, and then the 2 sons took it over, and they're still in business. One, they have a shop in San Francisco and one in Oakland. But they were good friends with Dad, and when he opened his shop, I think on San Bruno Avenue, which is farther south, they supplied him with all this stuff, all the art materials. And then when he was closing that store and getting ready to go out of business, or move, I think they were moving to Marin, he says, well, let me return this stuff. And I said, no, you just keep it. So it was really cool. And then he was an airbrush artist, all right? Advertising and designing. Jack Feldman, advertising and designing was the business that I remember growing up when he was in Corte Madera. And so he would do, gosh, he worked for Handicap, Coca-Cola. He had all the sports teams, 49ers, A's, Warriors, they were all his clients. He was just a go-getter on business, and he would go door to door and meet people and do things for him, waterbed companies and airplanes and stretch limousines and a lot of things. So I forgot where I was going with my story, but yeah, that was in Marin after he left San Francisco. So, airbrush. So the Flax brothers would always ask him to do airbrush and test out the various airbrush get-ups that they would receive from wherever, and he would test them, and then he would tell them which ones were the good ones, and then they would sell those good ones. Wow, November 1982. A winter rainstorm and blackbird swarm. So it's kind of hazy because the winter rainstorm is coming, and then the blackbirds. We have blackbirds in the neighborhood, especially over on that side. Not so much here, but over on the east side of the county, there always seems to be, I guess there's something more that they like than what we have here. We have all the other birds, but not the blackbird swarms. So this painting created while Shirley watches from inside the car as Jack gets drowned. Winery on Highway 12 between Santa Rosa and Sonoma on the south side. So as you drive from Santa Rosa to the town of Sonoma, so this is Sonoma County, but there's also a town of Sonoma where General Vallejo ran California before it was the United States, California. Anyway, there's wineries all over the place. Sonoma County is known for the wineries, and then on the other side of those hills right here, is Napa County is on the other side. But we're from Sonoma County, Marin County, San Francisco County, and also Napa County. I mean, I worked over there at the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America, for excuse me, 5 years. So, you know, it's all home. This whole neighborhood is home. But here we have those hills. Here's the winery, and then these are the grapes in here, and the rows. You can see where the tractor goes down the lanes here. Yeah, very nice. So as you drive from Santa Rosa going back to Sonoma, you know, there's just so many places to go wine tasting and stopping off, and great food and wonderful scenic views. So this is the Vineyard Series, number 1 Alpha. See, number 1 Bravo, Michael Bolivar. Oh, 1 Bravo is Michael Bolivar, who's a friend of Dad's. He's a jazz musician, and he's very well known. And he and Dad got to know each other. Dad was living on Furlong Road here in Sebastopol with Shirley, and I had run away from home. And one day there was this guy jogging down the street with a saxophone. And Dad was like, oh, I want to go meet this guy. And it was Michael Bolivar, and he was living in that neighborhood too, and he was jogging, from my understanding, down the street with a saxophone. And they've been friends ever since, and Michael has a whole series of Dad's paintings, actually. Yeah, so November winter storm downpour, 1982, Santa Rosa, Jack Feldman, 24 by 30, winter rainstorm, and blackbird swarm. Yep. And Dad was drowning outside. He says he puts like a plastic bag over him when he does this and it's raining. He stays and he keeps painting, and he gets you know, with a plastic bag over his artwork and his self. Yeah. Himself. Tuscany, Italy. An impression of Tuscany, Italy. Yeah, Dad wanted to do a nice painting of Tuscany. The last painting was a 2230. This is also a 2430. So is this 24 inches by 30. These are acrylic, right? There's the ones that I called out that were oil paintings were from earlier, and now Dad is just into acrylic. He can do the oil, obviously, but he sticks with the acrylic for a long time. This one's a 1994, when they were on Montclair Drive, series number 2007. Sea paintings. All of these different paintings have all these other numbers. Anyway, impression of Tuscany, Italy in 1994. So he had the concept and the idea that he really wanted to paint a small town in the Italian style, with all the red roofs, right? You have your trees, you have your logo, trees, spiring trees, a nice town that's always that way with a bell tower, and then the rolling hills in the background. Right. So this one is also on the way from Santa Rosa to Sonoma. This is Conde Vineyards or Winery. Visitors welcome, it says, for the Conde Estate Winery, open daily 11 to 5, 10155 Sonoma Highway, Kenwood, California. So it's right in there. Jack painted this on site with Shirley. Newly planted vineyard, rose plants, more sticks. Oh, rose plants were mere sticks. So this is the Vineyard Series number 2. And then he says, see all these other paintings? This was in 1995. So here's the recognizable building. The vineyards are here, and mere sticks were the roses. So when they do the vineyards, they have these posts, and the posts are put in at an angle to create back pressure. And then on the other end, there's another post, and it's also at an angle the other way, creating back pressure. And then they string the wire down there. So when they plant the grape from the bottom, as the grape grows vertical and starts to reach out towards the sun, they can train it to follow and to start to go sideways along the wire, and that way they can control the growth. And every year they cut it back down to where there's only 2 limbs that come up, right? After the fruit time, when they do the harvest, and then there's a dormant time during the winter time, and then they come through and they prune everything back, but they leave 2 shoots off of the bottom trunk, and then those 2 shoots, as they grow, they can be trained back onto the wire again. So the old root, a lot of them are old, and many of the vineyards, they rip out the entire vineyard and they replant again at every couple of years or something. So but these are the hills. This side is Kenwood, which is a town between Santa Rosa and Sonoma. A lot of famous vineyards and wineries are here. These are the hills. On the other side is Napa. So let's get a picture. It's funny. Many of Dad's paintings. So here it says, so long as men can breathe, or guys can see, so long lives this and gives life to thee. And on many of his paintings, and here it just reminded me, he had pharaohs here. So he, for a long time, he thought that it was a quote from the pharaohs. But it was soliloquy. Whose soliloquy? A playwright from the 1500s or 1600s. Shakespeare, right? Now I have to look up the time frame Shakespeare was there. Long time ago. But supposedly Shakespeare said this, not Pharaoh. So here on this one, it's whitewashed out because he realized that it was no longer, it wasn't truly from pharaohs, it was from Shakespeare. Yeah. Okay, recording again. The sun's out now. I mean, it's been out, but I'm feeling it on my head, so I got to protect myself. So this one is Shirley's garden. So Dad and Shirley were together for 40 years, and she was a great stepmom. She was a wonderful woman, and she really was good to me. Yeah, and she passed from cancer a few years ago, and that was hard. But in Shirley's garden, it had, so this is in Rohnert Park, but as they moved, she always had a garden because she was originally, she grew up in Missouri on a farm. And so she was always gardening, and she was always making and baking and cooking, and she was just really awesome. So this is Dad's memo series number 6. Rohnert Park, Shirley's garden number 2 in Rohnert Park, because there is another one, number 1. Yeah. So a lot of these plants in this garden, it's a small little garden in Rohnert Park. Tiny. It's maybe as big as, I don't know, this 10 by 10 spot. And so these are all various pots, and they would get all these different pots and all these different plants, and a lot of these plants are from slips from my grandparents in San Francisco that they propagated, and then they kept going forever because Shirley was such a good gardener. She understood that and knew how to do that. So this was in 1983. On Golf Course Drive was their Rohnert Park townhome condo, and then after that moved to Furlong Road out in Sebastopol. I left, and then they moved. They were there for a few years, and then they moved to Santa Rosa, and then they moved to Rohnert Park, and then they went to Stockton. So they were in one house in Stockton, then they went to another house in Stockton, and then when Shirley passed, Dad moved to Lodi, and now he's back in Stockton. What's wrong, Normal? Somebody getting in your nest? Let me go check Normal's nest. Hold on. So Normal is a little white bird. The male and the female nest inside a tree over the last 3 years, so they always go to the same hole when they come back. And yesterday and today, there's another bird trying to get in there, so I don't know what's going on, but I think it was a bigger bird and it chased her away. I don't think she has any babies in there yet, or eggs, but I don't know. We'll see. And oh, good. Okay. It's too bad he never finished them. This is his San Francisco landmark churches and cathedrals series. This one is landmark number 83. It's St. John's Presbyterian Church, 25 Lake Street, San Francisco, California. And this painting was in 1995 is when he started it. It's unfinished. It's a 24 by 30. He was on Montclair Drive in Santa Rosa when he started this one. The series is a 905, 905, and he was wanting and meaning to do a church series, which he did, but many of them are unfinished. Although they're still, even though they're unfinished, they're great pieces of art still. So well worth it. From my understanding, some of the churches are gone now. So yeah, historically speaking, it's a landmark, shouldn't be gone. They should have kept it. But yeah, I'll have to look at that to know what I'm saying properly. But yeah, he's got a series of, I don't know, 12 or 15 of the San Francisco churches. And he also did California missions, and that's another really great series. The majority of those are done. They were actually completed and they look really nice. This was Grace Cathedral. So 1051 Taylor Street, San Francisco, California, USA. Grace Cathedral, landmark series 170. Yeah, and this was also 1995. Series number 903. The other one was 905. I gotta clarify with old Dad his series numbering, because I don't know. So yeah, Grace Cathedral, and the long and the tall, and again, it's really nice. So when I do these, when I actually print them, I'm going to get history. I'm going to talk to Dad first on his inspiration on painting them, and I'll type that into a form, and then I give a little history on each painting of what it is, where it was, you know, in history, and then Dad's inspiration for painting the doggone thing. And so when I do that, you get the painting, or the print I should say, and you get my typed up history of each particular thing. Dad has a San Francisco landmark series that he did in 1953, and it's black pen and ink. That's all it is. There's no color. It's just pen and ink on white paper that he did. And it's 8 scenes. The Lyford House, cable car, Fisherman's Wharf, ferry building, Golden Gate Bridge, Coit Tower, Chinatown, and did I already say Fisherman's Wharf? Anyway, so they're beautiful pen and ink, really stark between the black pen and the white background. And because I grew up with these hanging on the wall, the paper had faded to a vintage color. So I thought that's how it was supposed to be. So I offer the vintage color background with the black pen, and I also offer the stark white background with the black pen, and it's textured, kind of like these canvases are textured. And so it's a really heavy paper, textured, and you either choose the vintage background or the white background, and both of them are really nice. And in 1953, Dad said he would go to Fisherman's Wharf and he would deliver his sets for the tourists. And if you go down to Fisherman's Wharf today, there's so many people who have the same idea now. I mean, Dad started it in 53, so I think he was the first one. Oh, speak of the devil, it's Dad. Hi, Dad, it's Jeffrey. Yep, you pocket dialed me. I'll call you back. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll definitely do some more cooking stuff then. Might. Yeah. Yeah. So today I'm actually outside, and I set up your easel, and I have my cameras going, and I am taking pictures of your paintings and describing them. So I have one camera for still photographs, and then I have another camera that's recording me in video. and then I'm telling stories. So the one I'm doing right now, as a matter of fact, is one of your San Francisco landmark churches. And this one is Grace Cathedral on Taylor Street. And these guys they're unfinished, but they're still really nice works of art. So what I'm Yeah. So, unfortunately, you didn't get a chance to finish them.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, the one that I thought was interesting was the very first church in San Francisco, and you must have it there somewhere. It's just a little horizontal building made of wood. You know, it's not impressive at all.
Yeah.
It's the first church in San Francisco, and so I did it because it's a historical place.
Nice.
Yeah, and I don't know if you find it, but when you find it, it looks like a nothing place, but it's a little horizontal wooden building, and there's plants in front.
Okay.
And there's just a couple of steps leading to the front door, like 2 or 3 steps.
Gotcha. And it's labeled.
Yeah.
I mean, you have description on the back of the painting.
Yeah, and it should have the date that it was built, too.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Well, I'll definitely look for it. Yeah, I just am doing these now. I've just done like 10 pictures so far, and I still have 1,000 to go.
Well, I'll tell you what's interesting about the one that we're just talking about is nobody even knows it exists, and it won't exist forever because it's only a wooden building.
Yeah.
But if you find it, make it known that it's the first church in San Francisco.
Okay.
Make it important because nobody else would care because it's not pretty or it's not got anything important about it.
Yeah.
Unless you know that it's important.
Okay. Now, is it part of your San Francisco church series, or is it a standalone?
Yeah.
Oh, it is one of them.
No, it's part of a church series.
Okay, good, good. So I should be able to find it then.
Yeah, and let's see, Mission Dolores is part of them. That's another one that was one. And I like that one.
Yeah.
I did, I think, 3 of those.
That's the Mission series, though. This one is the church series, but you also did the Mission series.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And most of the Mission series ones are actually finished, complete paintings, whereas the churches are incomplete.
That's exactly true.
Yeah.
See, Shirley and I would drive over to the city, and we would go from church to church, and I would make the sketches of them and take some pictures as reference, and then come home and paint them.
Oh.
But I never did finish that series, and I wanted to. I just ran out of time. That was all.
Sure. Yeah.
And the other one that I liked a lot was the Mission series because I handled those in a different style.
Yeah.
And they're very colorful and kind of modern design looking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very good series, that one, the Mission series. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And the Mission Dolores goes with that series.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I did about 2 or 3 of the Mission Dolores, and they're different sizes.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why I did it that way, but I did at the time. I can't recall. I had a good reason, but
Sure.
I did that.
Okay. Well, I'll take a look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was very pleased with them, and I had graduated from Mission High School, and we all stood on the steps to the Mission Dolores and had our picture taken.
Oh, neat. So you
graduation class.
And what year was that?
1948.
Okay.
June of 1948.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, that's when I graduated, and then they took the whole class and stood in front of the church, and then they took a picture of the class.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So I hope you can find that. Maybe you have it, maybe you don't. I don't know.
Yeah, I know you gave me a bunch of your yearbooks and things like that, and I think I have them unless I brought them back to you, but
I've got yearbooks back here, I think.
okay, so I might have brought them back to you.
Yeah, because they had so many pictures in it I wanted to see, and people.
Sure,
know?
sure, yeah.
And they had a lot of writing in it that I wanted to read, that I had never gotten a chance to read.
Yeah.
Everybody had autographed them, and said nice things.
Yeah.
But that's why I wanted them back. I wanted to read it and see what everybody said before I put them away.
Right. Yeah, that's nice.
That I have them, and they're in my bookcase.
Okay.
And they're all together.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, there's about 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, I know that I had taken them for safekeeping, and then later when you were settled, then I brought them back to you.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I got them today, and I look at them periodically as well.
Oh, nice.
And I've also got a roll picture of it's long, maybe about 3 feet long or something like that, maybe 26 inches. And it unrolls, and it shows all of the graduating class. There were 600 of them, and I was in the front with the principal and the vice principal and all the people around the school.
Yeah, because you were the president. Yeah, you were the president.
Yeah. So all of these people there were 600 people. I don't think there was all 600 in the picture, but the class was 600.
Okay, yeah, it's a big, long picture. I know that picture.
Yeah,
So.
and that picture is on the wall in Mission High School right now. When you enter the main door and go down that hallway, it's on the right-hand side. On a long, they have all of the different classes there.
Oh, interesting.
Mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
So it exists, and it's still there.
Sure.
And I liked it. I liked the picture. It's a nice picture of me.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Well, very good.